I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Cottonwood, Arizona, to be held May 16, 2017 at 6 p.m. City Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Althouse.
Here.
Councilmember Allen.
Here.
Councilmember Henry.
Here.
Councilmember Piper.
Here.
Councilmember Norman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Howdiga.
Here.
Mayor Linsky.
Here, thank you. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is brief summary of current events by mayor, city council, and/or city manager. The public body does not propose, discuss, deliberate, or take legal action on any matter brought up during the summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. Are there any council members that have anything to report?
Yeah, a couple. Go
Please.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Attended the chamber breakfast on Thursday. It was a great event. It was the Verde Champions, where members of the public, our business population, were elected to great positions, and we have a lot of great businesses in town that really showed up very well. We had an appreciation event in the city of Cottonwood honoring our volunteers. The mayor was in attendance, and Councilmember Piper and Linda Norman were also in attendance. It's great to see the volunteers that put in hundreds and hundreds of hours to the various departments in the city. And then I just wanted to make a quick mention. There's going to be a celebration of life for a gentleman many of you know by the name of Don Roberts from the Gold King Mine this Saturday. It runs from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So anybody that's interested or knew Don, stop by and say hi to his kids and the family that are up there. It's going to be a pretty neat event. Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Any other council members, please?
I just have a couple of items. So I did have the opportunity to attend the Verde River Conference, which was very informative. The conference, I'm sure many of you read in the paper, brought together a number of stakeholders from many different perspectives under one roof. And we had scientists, conservationists, recreational users, and it was very informative. Mayor Linsky did lead a panel as well, and I'm very hopeful that the conference will return again next year, and we'll be able to benefit from that kind of community atmosphere around the Verde River. Also, I did meet with staff about one of my favorite Parks and Rec city events, which is the Old Town Concert and Market. This is a great family-friendly summer series, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk about it as we approach, but just some exciting developments. Staff are in the process of creating a website and Facebook page to help market this event and hopefully help optimize the event as well. So stay tuned for details, and I'd hope to see a number of people this summer at the series. So,
Great, thank you. Any other council members, please?
Kyla, Karen, Linda, and myself attended the police memorial yesterday at the police station. I just say VFW. I couldn't get it. I was going to say the wrong word. VFW Post 7400 did a wonderful job along with the commander and chief that spoke at the event.
Great.
Very
Thank
touching.
You. Thank you for being there. I just have one thing to report. I did participate in the Great Sedona Chili Cook-Off the weekend before last, and in a tight competition between Sedona Mayor Sandy Moriarty and Chris Kazian from Sedona Fire District, Verde Valley School, and there's one other I'm forgetting. No, that's it. City Cottonwood participated, but basically on their community challenge, we won. City Cottonwood won. So we have a trophy across the street there at City Hall. You're all welcome to go look at that fine, fine trophy. And it was a long day. I have Jet Foley from Riot to thank. She was the one that really put that recipe together. I was able to chop, but that was about it. Chop and peel peppers, but she put the recipe together, and we did win, so I'm very proud. And I had to wrestle that trophy out of the Vice Mayor's arms. So it's on display. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's all I have. Mr. Rodriguez, have you got anything?
There's just a couple of points here. Registration for our summer reading program for adults and youth began on Monday, May the 22nd, online or in person. and it runs through Saturday, July 22nd, 2016, 17.
Your mic.
Thank you, Ryan. Youth and teens can win a free book each week for achieving the minimum number of minutes read. The grand prize for adults this year is a professional 3D printing pen. So come join us, build a better world through reading. The other item is this is the 6th year that the Cottonwood Recreation Center hosts the Mingus Union High School Operation Graduation this Friday, May the 26th. Nope, a week from this Friday, May the 26th. The all-night celebration provides a safe and fun environment for the graduating class of 2017. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Okay, moving on, we have a presentation from Kairos. This is a 10-minute presentation on the transition from Arizona Public Employers Health Pool to Kairos. Is that correct?
Kairos.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I'll go ahead and do an introduction. With us, we have John Ashton from Ashton Tiffany, which is an independent risk management firm out of Phoenix that specializes in pool management. Ashton Tiffany was formed back in 1995 and has been managing our soon-to-be dissolved our Arizona Public Employers Health Group, which provides health insurance for our city employees and schools and other communities around the state, as well as districts, fire districts. In addition to Kairos, now Kairos, the company also manages 6 other pools in Arizona, including the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust, and of course the new insurance pool, Kairos Health Arizona. John Ashton is the co-owner of Ashton Tiffany and is executive director now of Kairos itself. We have a listing of pools that they manage currently. Arizona, as I mentioned, Arizona School Retention Trust, the Arizona School Alliance for Workers' Compensation, School Construction Insurance Pool, Behavioral Health Insurance Pool, Orion Health Insurance Pool, Northern Arizona Employee Benefits Trust, and now the Kairos Health Arizona.
Great.
And he's got a presentation he'd like to go through.
Please. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Rudy, thank you for the introduction. Like Rudy said, I'm John Ashton with Ashton Tiffany. We're the administrators of Kairos. We're currently the administrators of APEP, the Arizona Public Employers Health Pool. If I can, I'll spend a few minutes just to kind of give you a little history of where we started and what's happening with your employees' health benefits, including their dependents. City of Cottonwood joined the Verde Valley Employee Benefit Trust back in 2001. In 2004, Rudy Rodriguez became the president of the Verde Valley Employee Benefit Trust. Verde Valley Employee Benefit Trust at the time probably had about 8 members in it. It changed its name to the Arizona Public Employers Health Pool in 2010. It's been a very successful trust, a very successful pool, averaging 5.8% rate increases over the last 10 years. And that's normally people don't say, well, great, 5.8% over 10 years, that's a lot. But relative to what's happening in health insurance and a lot of other industries and even public entities, that's a very, very successful program. During that time, also, benefits have been enhanced. And today, 28 members are in APEP, representing about 1,600, 1,700 employees. And it's a financially healthy organization, APEP is, with $4.8 million in surplus. Although it is healthy, APEP's growth has been moderate. The projected rate increase for the 17-18 year was a 10% rate increase. And APEP, the board, about 6 or 7 years ago said we should try to start growing APEP. And we have grown, but it hasn't been at the pace that we had hoped it would be. And part of the reason is that it's just not a solution for a lot of public entities, large self-insureds, et cetera. And when I talk about Kairos, we'll get to that. APEP does have the opportunity to capitalize on the growth, on improved growth, and I'll explain that in a minute also. So what's happening with other public entities in the state? Many are experiencing double-digit rate increases. A lot of them this year, there was a big pool that's out there that the standard rate increase was a 21% rate increase on their health insurance. It's a very fragmented marketplace right now. We believe there's a lot of inefficiencies in the way healthcare is being, the health insurance programs are being administered and delivered to public employees. And we think there's a lack of transparency, which contributes to that inefficiencies. And there is no single statewide solution for all public entities or all what I'll call viable public entities. There's large self-insureds like the city of Phoenix or the state of Arizona that will almost certainly remain self-insured or on their own and aren't looking to participate in a pool. So that's what the state of the market is right now. The Arizona School Risk Retention Trust, recognizing it's a program for school districts only, but school districts are facing a lot of the same issues that cities and towns and fire districts and everybody are facing. And the Arizona School Risk Retention Trust said, let's take a look at the statewide health insurance, for statewide health insurance for our schools. And a little bit of a background on the trust. Started in 1986. Districts at that time were receiving significant increases in their property and liability insurance. The legislature needed to find a solution, and they enabled 11-95201, which allows public entities to come together and pool their insurance. And the trust was created at that time. That began with 5 school districts in 1986 with $320,000 in premium or contributions. Today, that trust provides property and liability insurance to 250 of the 254 school districts and community colleges in the state. So virtually almost every school district in the state is a member of the trust. It has $58 million a year in revenues, $98 million in surplus, $208 million in assets. Basically what we're telling you there is it's a very financially healthy program, and it was started 31 years ago. It is owned by its members, so the school districts own it. They have a governing board, and the governing board hires an administrator, but the governing board decides what happens to that. And in the last 7 years, they've returned $27 million back to the school districts. Has both an excellent reputation for coverage that it provides and the service that it has, strong core values, managed by a professional local firm. That's us in Phoenix. And then it is one of the largest, most successful public entity pools in the United States. There's about 500 plus public entity pools across the country. The Arizona School Risk Retention Trust is one of the largest, and happened to also win the inaugural award for excellence for pooling from the Association for Government Risk Insurance Pools. So the point is, it's a very strong program, and the trust was put together 31 years ago to solve the property and liability needs of school districts. They also, 20 years ago, did the same thing for workers' compensation. And so the board said, look, we've been really successful in property and liability. We've been really successful in workers' compensation by pooling this. Why can't we do this for health insurance? And so what they said is, they asked us to go out and say, can we do something for health insurance? And we put together Kairos Health Insurance, or Kairos Health Arizona. Like APEP, Kairos is a public entity pool. The Arizona School Risk Retention Trust knew when they put it together that in order to be a solution for all public entities in the state, they had to open it up beyond just school districts. And they recognized that cities and towns and fire districts and other public entities qualify for and can pool that. It's very different than you might think on a property and liability. A school district is very different than a fire district or a city and town, because you guys have police, all of that. Schools have teachers and buses, so it's very different risks. Health insurance isn't so different. So the Kairos solution is a solution for all public entities. It's purchasing power. By combining all of these together, we recognize purchasing power. We return those savings to the employees, the employers, the employees, and the dependents. It is a promise to deliver on transparency. It is governed by its members. When we talk about that, just like APEP, just like the Arizona School Trust, just like the Arizona School Alliance, just like the Muni Pool that you guys are a member of, or AMRP, that Rudy is also a member of the board, that owned and governed by members means it's not owned and operated by an insurance company. And there's no profit margin, there's nothing in there. Whatever profit that would otherwise go to an insurance company is retained by the members, school districts, cities, towns, etc. And we have combined that financial strength of the Arizona School Trust with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a very, very strong insurance company in Arizona, and especially strong for rural Arizona, and that's why we chose to partner with them. Kairos is offering medical, stop-loss, prescriptions, dental, vision, basic life, voluntary life, short-term disability, all the other ancillary benefits, plus all of the things that go with running an insurance company, a health insurance company, including that network, claims administration, the wellness, the nurse line, COBRA administration. So effectively, all of your employee benefit needs, or I should say the vast majority of your employee benefit needs, we don't deal with retirement and things like that, but all of your medical, dental, vision, all of that is under the Kairos umbrella. Just like it was with APEP, just Kairos is enhanced. So we brought Kairos to the Arizona School Trust Board. The Arizona School Trust Board said, let's go with it, and we took it to the APEP board. And, sorry, one slide before that. The governance structure. We do have a governing board. Audit and legal report directly to the governing board without coming through us as the administrator. All the other stuff is handled by us as the administrator, obviously with direct reporting to the governing board when needed. So we took it to the APEP board, and what Kairos brought to the APEP board was for 2017-18, it was a 4% increase instead of a 10% increase. That was without knowing who was going to join the Kairos. At the time, we had Kairos we didn't know who was going to be joining. Now it has 7,500 employees, so it's 5 times or 4.5 times as big as what APEP was. That gets us some purchasing power. Even without that, we had a reduction in costs just by the concept. Us going out and negotiating with the providers that put together an insurance program and saying this is what we're putting together. That was a 4% increase instead of a 10% increase. That adds up over time. That adds up a heck of a lot. We offer blue card coverage for out of state. So if an employee is on vacation somewhere or a dependent, you have a kid in college somewhere and they get injured, they can go to any of the Blue Cross Blue Shield networks across the country, and it's treated as in-network. No material changes to the plan design. So what we did with APEP, the reason that it's a solution for all is we'll have large self-insured organizations that are sitting right side by side with the pooled program. You guys are part of the pooled program. And what we did is we took the APEP structure and all the benefit designs, and we said that's going to be the benefit designs for Kairos. So we have the same plan designs as you had expiring right now to try to minimize that disruption. We've added wellness. We've added other benefits. We believe APEP's a better solution on its own. We're getting better economies of scale, better growth opportunities. And one of the things that the rural community was concerned about was, are we going to lose our voice by having large urban self-insureds participating on that? And the answer to that is no. In fact, 3 of the 6 initial board members for Kairos are board members from the APEP board, which are Rudy Rodriguez, who is the board president for Kairos, and then David Likens from Sedona School District and Dave Tharp from Central Arizona Fire District. So that loss of voice just isn't going to happen. With that governance structure and the way that we have that set up, you're just not going to lose that. One other point I think it's important to make, a lot of smaller rural communities would think that they might suffer the negative loss experience of a large urban school district that might be self-insured, or a large urban city or town. And the way we've set up the program is those large self-insureds are responsible for their own losses, and you don't participate in their losses. They also don't participate in the pooled losses. That's a benefit for this program, and that's why it's a solution for all. There's not a solution out there that offers the self-insured sitting side by side with the pooled program. But combined, that purchasing power is significant. And that's how Kairos, that's the philosophy of Kairos. Strength in numbers. a solution for all public entities, transparency and integrity in the way we deliver the product and the service. And that's it. Any questions?
Council members, any questions?
I just had a couple.
Sure.
So right now you have 7,500 employees
Yes.
from different entities. What are your plans to grow that number? You know, earlier you spoke that you plan to grow aggressively.
We are. The marketing season is pretty much over because most public entities have a 7/1 renewal. So we started this. We got approval. We got the go-ahead from the Arizona School Trust to do this, and they helped fund it to get it started in February. So in that short amount of time, we grew from, we had APEP join, so we went from 0. APEP brought 1,600 employees, and then we grew another 5,900. That's a pretty good growth that we're very happy with. We were also late on getting to a lot of the school districts and the cities and towns because they're making their budget decisions in January and February, and we were just putting it together or just finalizing it. So this next year, our marketing, we think, will be more aggressive. How big we get, we don't know. We don't know how big we're going to get. But I can tell you we're preparing and we're laying the foundation to get as big as we can comfortably get without losing that personal touch, personal service, and all of that APEP members have become accustomed to.
Thank you. And that leads into my second question. You touched on the trust with the surplus and the assets that the trust has and how strong a program it is. So is the trust then lending Kairos the funds for this year, or what is the term, or what is that financial assurance for this trust pool?
So the trust committed up to $460,000 just to get the benefits consultants and the ancillary legal services, all of that we needed to get in order to get it up and running. We are also going to the Arizona School Trust in June and asking them to contribute capital. When you start a pool, the first few years are the most critical years.
Right.
Because if you have bad loss experience and you have to go back and assess the members, which is a provision in every pool in the state of Arizona, there's a statute that requires you have to have an assessment provision. We want to do anything we can to avoid that. And so we're going to the Arizona School Trust and asking them for somewhere between $3.5 to $5 million. We don't know if they're going to do that. That it will not be a loan. It will not be paid back. That would be the trust who committed to contributing that. We've already approached it and discussed it with the governing board, but that's a decision that they're going to make. And they've asked us some questions that we have to bring back to them in June for a final decision on whether or not they're going to capitalize that. The APEP board, because most of the pooled members are APEP members, the APEP board voted to distribute some of its funds, that $4.8 million that it had, and then roll the rest into Kairos when it merged the program with Kairos. And so that's bringing about $3.5 million into the startup of Kairos. That money becomes the starting member equity for the members from APEP. So I'll use an example, and these aren't the right numbers, so please don't take those, but if the city of Cottonwood had $400,000 in member equity, at ending member equity with APEP, its starting member equity with Kairos will be $400,000. So that money isn't going to be diluted with the other members right off the bat. Now, during the course of the year, as contributions come in and surplus is generated or perhaps a deficit is generated, that's shared amongst all the members that are in that pool program.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I had a question about this pool is governed by the public employers. Is that correct? So how is that determined? Then who is going to represent that from the city of Cottonwood? So
we had to have an initial board set up. And so the initial board consists of those 3 members from APEP that I told you about. We have 2 representatives from Chandler School District and 1 representative from Scottsdale School District. That's our initial board of 6 members. We have the authority to have anywhere from 3 to 13. The governing board will decide how many they want to have on their membership. Mm-hmm. But we also have written in our bylaws that approximately 1/3 of the board members would be up for re-election every year, and they're a 3-year term. So we don't have all 6 members being voted on or off at one time. So our initial board, we have 2 of them have a 1-year term, 2 of them have a 2-year term, and 2 of them have a 3-year term. Rudy's is a 3-year term. And then when we have elections every year, the members of the pool have a vote, and each member gets 1 vote, whether you're a 6-employee school district or you're a 6,000-employee city. So each member has 1 vote. There are a couple of provisions in the bylaws and the membership agreement that prohibit the pooled members from effectively throwing out the self-insured members or bringing the self-insured members in on an assessment. That's not allowed.
Okay.
But that's intended to protect both parties, the self-insureds and the pooled members.
Okay.
But each member gets 1 vote for the board, and that's how the elections happen.
Okay. Is there any requirement for rule composition on that board?
The only requirement is you have to be an employee or an elected official of a participating member. So
I guess my question is will it always remain that there's a good rule presence on that board?
I'm sorry. That is usually done by the nominating committee or the governing board itself.
Okay.
I can tell you, as long as we're administering that, we don't have a say over the board, but we're certainly going to try to influence the board to make sure that they have representation from rural, from urban, from cities, towns, fire districts, and schools.
Got it.
So that's the belief of the board, and I can tell you on the Arizona School Trust, it's all school districts, but we have very good representation of large urban and small and rural, and we've kept that, and that board for 31 years has kept it that way.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the intent. And APEP's has been like that too. APEP's all rural, but they've had representation from cities, towns, school districts, and then when we started adding fire districts, same thing.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions? Thanks for your time, Mr. Ashton.
Thank you.
Appreciate
that.
All right, then moving on, the next item on the agenda is call to the public. And this portion of the agenda is set aside for the public to address the council regarding an item that is not listed on the agenda for discussion. However, the council cannot engage in discussion regarding any item that is not officially listed on the agenda for discussion and/or action. Is there anybody in the room that would like to address the council tonight on an item that's not on the agenda? No? Okay. All right, we'll move on. Next item is approval of minutes from the work session of March 14, 2017, regular meeting of April 18, 2017, budget work session of April 25th, 2017, and the special meeting of May 9th, 2017. I'll go ahead and move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, Mayor made the motion and Councilmember Norman seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. All right, moving on is unfinished business. One item under here is discussion, consideration, and possible legal action regarding a request for additional compensation for citywide custodial services due to the recent statewide minimum wage increase pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute Section 38-431.03.A.3 and/or A4. The council may vote to convene an executive session to discuss this matter. Mr. Faust.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, your packet information tonight, we discussed at the April 18, 2017 regular meeting of the council that staff had identified issues with the contract involving the current citywide custodial services with Accurate Buildings Maintenance. Staff advised council that the contractor was seeking additional compensation, that is the adjustment due to the minimum wage laws and Prop 206 for minimum wage. And this was for changes in the scope and a marked increase in cost for services rendered by the company due to heavy use of a part-time workforce staff. Staff, along with the city attorney, discussed with Mr. Ron Finken, who is here tonight, and he's the CEO of Accurate Buildings Maintenance. There was discussion with the options for moving forward with contract, along with discussions with Mr. Finken for both parties. Proceeding forward with the possibility of a compromise solution with final consideration by the City Council. The Finance Department is also currently making processing invoices and making payments, and that was with all locations throughout the city, along with an addition of the Cottonwood Kids Park, which was one of those additions recently, and that was on March 8th. Invoicing for all buildings was originally set at $21,989 per month, with the exclusion of the Civic Center in January 2017, which was compensated for due to closure for construction. Costs were then reduced by to $20,493 per month, and that was with additional services for trash pickup at the library, transit stop, along with the inclusion of the kids' park in March. Totals amount paid were $20,976 at that time. As described in to the city attorney in an email from Mr. Finken on May 4th, 2017, the following amounts were invoiced for increases being absorbed by Accurate Building Maintenance as follows: for costs involving minimum wage increases for over 140,000 square feet of services monthly, which totals $23,702.18, which was identified by Mr. Finken for the additional for his workforce for minimum wage law. In addition, Mr. Finken identified in his email letter to the city attorney that if the new request for proposal for custodial services was not effective as of June 1st, the city would then be invoiced at a rate of $25,689.63 per month. And again, with me tonight is Mr. Finken, and I think Mr. Finken would like to speak with the council. So, are there any questions by council?
Are there any questions from council for Mr. Faust? Okay. Then have a seat, Mr. Faust. We'll call forward Mr. Finken.
Thank you. I'm Ron Finken with Accurate Building Maintenance. My wife and I started the business 22 years ago, and I just want to give you a little brief history about our relationship with the city. Since I understand a lot of the city council members weren't here when we started this 4.5 years ago. So we are a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. It's a mouthful. My wife and I started the business 22 years ago, and we have a staff that's been here now for over 4 years working for the city. And the way this came about is about 5 years ago, the city put out an RFP for custodial services, and we responded to it. We were not the winner of the bid. However, another company, I believe, out of the Phoenix area was cheaper than us, and I think they took over in like July of 2012, July or August of 2012. And about 60 days later, I got a call from Richard Faust saying that the contractor was failing miserably, and they were having some difficulties. In fact, I guess there was there was some severe damage done to the gym floor at the recreation center, and so the question to me was, were we, how soon could we take over the contract, and were we willing to do it at the price that we had submitted several months prior to that? So we went back and took a look at everything and said, yes, we can do this. And in 3 weeks, we put together a staff, the equipment, the supplies, and started services. The first 2 days were kind of fun because we got a box full of keys that were not labeled, and trying to figure out what keys went to what buildings took a while. And the good thing about the city of Cottonwood is that everybody has always been very fair and been, in the last 22 years, it's one of the best relationships we've ever had with the client. And because everybody at the city has always been very helpful, and they consult with us, which is what we like to do. In fact, within a couple of months, we saw a need to standardize the dispensers in the buildings, the toilet paper, soap, hand towel dispensers. And with our buying power with our vendors, we were able to get all new dispensers for the city installed for free, installation included. So now the city has dispensers that are standard throughout the city. In most cases, some of them are built in, like at the rec center. let's see. Also, the city has told us in the past that we received the highest monthly scores from the various facilities versus past contractors in recent history. So the reason I'm here today, obviously, is because we find ourselves in a situation where there was a vote on November 8th, and the people of the state of Arizona said they want the minimum wage raised to $10 an hour, and it escalates from there, along with sick pay. So, mind you, in 2012, when we bid this, I believe minimum wage was $7.65. So, granted, it went from 8.05 to 10 recently, but if you go back 4.5 years, we bid this at $7.65. Not that we necessarily pay minimum wage. So I immediately after the election, I reached out to Richard Faust the following week and started the discussion around the need to increase the contract, knowing that the 5th option year, which is an option for the city as well as us, was due to start December 20th, 2016. So this was about, actually about a little over a month ahead of that. We moved forward with the option year once we were told that our request for an increase was approved. I've since sent the documentation of all the emails showing the approval to Steve Horton, the city attorney. I'm assuming City Council has seen that or seen the emails or no?
We have an executive session on the agenda if the council wants to go into executive session.
I have copies for the City Council with me if you'd like to see them. Additionally, I have a list of all the other changes to the contract that have been approved over the life of the contract. There's been, for instance, the youth center when it opened up, the EOC building or ECC building, the communication center over at Public Safety. So there's been $43,000 a year added to the contract since it started. Okay, and I also have copies of that if you'd like them, showing you all the different changes to the contract. To my knowledge, none of this went to City Council for approval. So here we are, almost 5 months into the 5th year, and I'm literally paying the city to clean your facilities because the margins in this business just are not they're tight. And for us to absorb a 23-24% increase in wages and still clean your buildings is a struggle. So in an attempt to resolve this matter, I agreed to split the difference, which came out to, the total was for the first 5 months of this year was about, the increase was about $22,000. And I agreed to split the difference because my theory is, legal action, nobody ever wins in those situations. So I've never been interested in going that route, and I don't want to in this case. I want to maintain the relationship we have with the city. And our goal has always been our people get rewarded for the good grades we get from the city. And our goal has always been to provide a safe, healthy, and clean environment for the employees of the city as well as the residents of Cottonwood. And I thank you again for giving me the opportunity to talk to you. Any questions?
Any council members have questions for Mr. Finken? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a copy of the original contract and the email correspondence for Mr. Finken available?
I'm not sure if we included the contract in this packet. I know the council has received it. We've discussed this on at least one other occasion. And I know we had prepared to visit with council in executive session at the council's discretion.
Okay.
Mayor, I do have a question.
Sure.
Are your employees local? I mean, I didn't catch that part. You're from Cotton. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Here's the list of changes. You probably don't have that.
Very good. Well, I would move that we
Please.
go into executive session.
I'd second.
Okay, as Mayor made the motion, Councilmember Allen seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So we're going to head back, folks, and just stick around. We'll come out here shortly, as soon as possible.